how to make a beautiful commercial on a small budget, and what not to do. Hi, I'm Steven. I've shot on hundreds of commercials, thousands of setups, and I break down lighting and video so you don't have to. Let's get into it. So here we have a Medicare supplement commercial, and right off the bat, let's break down this wide shot here. So we have a side push, right? Boom, boom, boom. It's hitting the girl in the back, hitting the kid in the front. It's kind of obvious, right? But what's really going on here? So here's what they did. I don't know the setup, but I've looked at it and I think I've got a good idea. So first off, let's check out these little dapples. I always break down the background first. I always light the background first. It's so much easier. But let's look at this. So you see these little dapples right there. And this part right there. These are unique. These are not natural shadows. These are not something that you would get from, say, going through a plant. You see this right here? That is a natural dapple. This stuff is not natural. See how sharp it is? So that leads me to believe that it is a gobo. And I swear, it looks just like, where is it at? It looks just like the gobos that you can get online for like $10. And so this leads me to believe that they have done a Joker or a Jolico with a little gobo in there right over here, and it went and it hit this part, and it does this and it does that, and this little shadow is this section that got cut and casted over there. Now you see that we have this hard line that's coming from this lamp, which means that there's a light coming from over here. It's a Joker, Jolico. You take a Joker and then you attach a Lico attachment to it with a lens projector, and then you have a projector. It's kind of weird. I would never do that. If you want, take a branch. This right here, this is so bizarre, and it's distracting. It would be better if you had more dapple everywhere else, but because you've limited yourself to a Lico that has like a 19 degree or maybe a 35 degree field of view, you're not going to get that much splash, especially if you had to move the light in order to get the level, right? And so it's so much better to just have a raw, powerful light hit a tree or a branch or something, which then casts dapple all over the scene, and as a bonus, any wind will make it flutter. And this right here, this sucks. I never would have done that. And so anyway, they have that Jolico right there, is doing that. But then you have a second source. See how soft this is, and how soft this is, which is this lamp here. So there is a frame right outside, which I would guess is probably got like probably a 1200 HMI. Maybe a 1600 like Joker, depends, it's around about the same brightness. It's not, but roundabout. That's what I would have used instead of like an 800, right? And so that's what I would have powered the frame with, and that's probably what they did, and that's what created this nice soft push, and it's also pushing on these folks. That's what's actually hitting these folks. The 1200 source is what's hitting these folks here. And the Jolico is only hitting the background right there. And so what's actually playing on the scene is this 1200 through a frame, like a 216 or something. Maybe they got a bigger rag. I doubt it. I judging by the it's not super soft, but it's not super sharp either. So I think it's like a 4x4 frame right outside the window. Anyway, so you have this source going, and you have the little Lico hitting the background, right? And then we have one more source, which is a soft box. At least I think it's a soft box, which is straight to the face. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not judging. I just dislike how unnatural that is. That sounds so pompous. So here's the thing. You have this giant source hit in the face, and you can see the shadow Where's the shadow? I thought I saw it. Oh, here it is. Boom. That's it. And you can trace that to the leg, going straight over here. It's like a, well, it's not that low. It's more like, it's probably up here doing that. And it's hitting the little girl, and it's hitting the boy, and it's hitting the grandma in the face. Here's something else. So those are the three sources in here. Here's something else. You have this lamp. Now, I know an art guy who will fight me, and we're friends. His name's John Mike. And he will, every time he'll place a lamp in the shot, and he'll be like, hey, aren't you going to light that up? And I'd be like, no, it's daylight. I don't like lighting up lamps if it's in the daylight. If it's at night, then you light up a lamp, right? So nobody in real life turns on lamps in the middle of the day if it's by a window. And so I would never have done that, but you know, I understand, like, it's the DP, he's got all these new toys or whatever. He's like, oh, I gotta light this up. Oh, I gotta use a gobo situation. Oh, I need to use the softbox. You don't have to do that, right? You would have been just fine with this frame, and you could have done a huge rag on the inside, lighting that up, and it would have filled beautifully and not be so sourcey on the face. So make this the most powerful source, and then make this 8x a much more weaker source that wraps around the face and gives you that nice fall off. See right here? See the dark side of the face? It's not super dark, right? Not that you want it or require it to be dark, but if you wanted some more drama, or you wanted a more natural shape, having a spot right here and then a spotlight right there, not great. What you need is a blob of light here, and then extend it from the window, which will create an uninterrupted source on the face and give you that nice taper off into a beautiful creamy darkness, in which case you could also lift up with just a fill source on this side, unpowered. And that would lift this up to whatever level you need. That's the wide shot, and we're moving on. Or not. All right. Oh, this is a beautiful shot. So she's probably got the best shot here. This is just the 4x4 frame playing on her. I seriously doubt they did anything differently from the backlight, and that's what's creating all of this edge, right? You can even see the little spot right there. Ooh, is it a square? It looks like a square. You can even see the square in the eye. The key light for grandma is still playing over here. It seems weaker. No, it's probably the same. That's the same light. They didn't do anything. This remains the same, and this remains the same. Those are the same. What they did add is fill for her on this side, and I'm not quite sure. I want to say, let's go back and check that out. You can see right there in the eye, it's barely there. You see right there in the eye, there's like a white spot. And I think they added a card. No, maybe they have a card right here underneath the eye, out of frame, and that would be collecting this window light coming in. It would be bouncing off of this and going ba 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 ba, and that would be filling the face. You can definitely tell she's got fill because look underneath the chin. There's no shadow there. It's very well lit, almost to the point that it might even be lit by a source. Oh, you know what? See that line? That line means that there is a source. Might even be a hard source. No, it's a soft source, but it's like a panel light or something. It's small enough. Of course, it's the hair. The hair is pretty close to the face. No, it's soft. Maybe it's like a 4x4. But either way, there's a soft source coming from over here. And I still think that there's something underneath that they placed underneath here. So there's probably a white card, and then there's a source coming in as well, hitting the face and lighting up and destroying all of that lovely shadow. And then okay, so check this out. This is This is how you know when the shooter is inexperienced. And I'm not making fun of the person, but this is a great thing to point out and to learn from. Because I did the same thing. I learned and I made some stupid mistakes when I was starting out. So I want you to check out this lady's shot versus this kiddo's shot. So what's the difference here? Let's look at the histogram. Let's look at the waveform. So you see this darkness right here, this little dark spot. That is at 10 and then I want to say like 8 IRE. So it's between 10 and 8 IRE. That's how dark this is. That's like a hole. Well, let's back up and look at her shirt. Oh my gosh, she's at like 15 IRE. So what's the difference? You see how cloudy this shot looks here? This shot is cloudy compared to that. The blacks here look nice. You can see inside the little holes in the shirt. You can see nice darkness in the hair and the mouth. You can see some darkness. And then this, whatever this cabinet thing is at this Airbnb, it's going to be dark. And so you can see there's a darkness. But over here, everything is lifted. It's so much brighter. That's because the DP didn't have any. The DP didn't have sideburns on his matte box. Sideburns, French flag or eyebrow. So you have the eyebrow up here, then you have sideburns on the side. That's what I was taught that they were called. I know that they have different names, French flags, but these are the matte doors that you put on your matte box. Some matte boxes, however, the smaller and entry-level ones, only have the eyebrow. So whenever we're pointing at this lady, we only have an eyebrow. When you have a source over here that's going to veil the lens, it's a type of flare, so it's gonna throw light into the lens and it's gonna bounce around everywhere, and what it does is it lifts the black level up. So it's kind of like a mist filter kind of does something similar, but it lifts up the black level, and it's not it. So it destroyed. Look at that! All that detail is destroyed. It's gone, and so let's go back to the little girl. You can see we have detail and texture here. You have texture in the hair. You can see the darkness in the mouth. You can see darkness over here. That contrast is required in order to get a clear picture. And look at this. So we have the same eyebrow is going to be right up here, and it's going to be blocking that light source that's coming in. That window source is completely blocked off by this. But in the previous shot, it is not, because the source is over here and the guy or lass did not have a sideburn. If you only had a sideburn on your matte box, you could have mitigated all that. Or you could have had one of the crew place a flag outside of your field of view, which does the same thing. It cuts light, and that'll cut light that's hitting your camera. So that's what that is. That sucks, man. That sucks. But now that you know, hopefully you'll bear that in mind. And let's say that these folks didn't shoot this as a freelance crew. Let's say that they did it as employees, as full-time employees. Buy your own matte box. That's what I used to do. So, or you can try to get them to buy you one, but generally you're going to crew your own gear when you go freelance. So don't buy a freaking camera. Start with the accessories like your follow focus and a matte box. Collect all that stuff first, and it'll help you, and it'll help you learn. Anyway, so we have the same shot here. Let's go full screen. Then we had the boy. So the boy, you see how soft this is? It seems sharp right here, but that's just because of the shoulder's proximity to the wall. In fact, like look how close, look how far away this, because this is where the bleeding edge is, to back here. It's probably where that is. That's much further, and you can see it's much softer. And so It's a 4x4 source. It's the same thing. I guarantee you they didn't do anything different. They just turned the camera and shot this direction. Well, here's the thing. You have such a brightness here. You have such a brightness on the face. Did they do anything wrong? There is no right, there is no wrong. There are just different ways you can do stuff. If you want to keep your realism, then absolutely not. They didn't do anything wrong. Actually, I think this is quite fine. I think that this being a little bright kind of sucks, but what you could do is have a net out of frame. It's literally a bobbinet. Don't let anybody tell you different. Most production gear is just sourced from other manufacturers. There's very few rags and stuff that's manufactured specifically for film. At least that's the way it started off in every instance. So you have a net here that can then cut off this section, and this section can get cut, which would then allow his face to pop. And I mean, that's what you could do, or you could just let it ride. In this case, I probably would have thrown in a net or maybe a frost. A frost would do the same, a similar situation. It just blurs the light, and actually you can't do that because you would see the frame line on his face. So a net is the way to go. By the way, a net has this is the metal, and then the rest of it's open-ended. So it's got a tiny little string, or it's a metal wire over there. So you can poke this end into your shot right there, and it's too light to be visible. So the edge ends up being so faint that you can't tell where the net starts and where the actual light ends. And so that's that. Oh, we got a new shot for the lady. And they kept everything. In fact, I think they brought that key light. Why did we change? Huh? They brought that key light in even closer because you can see how much brighter her face is. So whatever that Octobox is or softbox or whatever it is, they brought it in. You can see right there. There's a glint in the eye that is from this source right here. Jesus, dude. Draw a straight line. So that's this little glint in the eye. You can also see it off the nose right there. Boom. And it is what is casting this shadow right there. So that's the shadow that this light is casting. And this light is coming from the window. So that's a different one. What else? It's filling in. Gosh, is the shirt the same level? No, the shirt is dipped. So somehow they've cut some of the light from the window to which look at all that detail. You can see so much more detail in that sweater there. You can actually see some of the lines now. Yeah, and see the IRE level. Instead of being at 15 like it was before, now it's dropped down to 10. Still not great, but considering that their black levels never went below 8, I think that part of this milkiness is also due to post-processing. I think they lifted the blacks in post, or whatever LUT they threw on it didn't throw it all the way down to like 0. It keeps it at 8, which, I mean, that's just artistic preference. Same shot, and oh, it looks like she's got. Is that a fill card? There's a fill card somewhere down here, pointing up at the face, which is probably helping to eliminate some of this shadow as well. So I think that's a lot of work unnecessary work. You don't have to do that. You don't have to add extra stuff just because you have it. You don't have to get rid of the shadows down here just because you have an extra white card. A lot of the practices that existed 30 or 40 years ago are not continuing because lots of folks are starting to light, like what I was talking about, where you have this uninterrupted source, which is what I would describe as a natural lighting, natural source. When you have like a source here and then a source here, then the fill card there, that shape doesn't exist in real life ever. And it creates these little catch lights. That's also unnatural. What's more natural is just a natural continuous source. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. This is how these folks did it, and I'm breaking it down for you. Oh, there you go. There you go. She looks like a cyborg. Ah, those little dots right there. There's a light of some kind. It's actually, I think it's gotta be like a small panel light. Because the shadows were semi-soft before. Yeah, and that's what's creating that little dot right there, and that's what's filling in the face here. And there you go. Boom, eHealth. So, moral of the story, how would I light this, or how could you light this in with a limited budget? And so what they did here, I suspect, is they had a big light. I think a 1200 HMI. So gosh, what would an LED equivalent of that be? Because is HMI the same as LED? Oh no, yeah, it's almost roughly the same. So you could have like a 1200 LED and be fine. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if it's like a daylight version. If it's an X version or a color version, color is going to be way too weak. X version, probably. Yeah, absolutely. So that they had that for the big window. So this is the window light. Window key. I would say that's the majority of the push to the room. And then they had the softbox key light. This is the wrap on the inside. And this could be done with I would say a 600. Actually, you know what? For if we wanted to get for realsies old school, if we're gonna stick with HMIs, an 800 Joker watt HMI Joker into like an 8 by, well, no, that was a softbox, so they had like a softbox or a 4x4 frame. And then, but you can do that so much easier now with a 600 X. I would always choose X or Nanlite. Nanlite has the B? Was it the 7? Frack. Or was it the 750 B? I would choose that one because the X doesn't have the green magenta shift. These guys have that plus or minus magenta. Oh my gosh, freaking perfect. Oh, I've not worked with them, but that is, ooh, anyway. So that's this one, that's that one. And then you have a Jolico. I would never do this, dude. They did this with a Jolico, which is an 800. You can do it with a 400 watt, which is common and standard. If you want an 800 watt, which is what I would have done if I wanted to do what they did, then the Joker, not the Joker, the Lico attachment, there's a piece of glass on the inside. This needs to get ground down so it can get widened in order to fit the 800 bulb inside. So that's the but you don't have to do it. The rental house would have to do it, and they very likely have. I mean, I don't know if they have them now, but I don't know how old this commercial is, but that's what they would have had to do. And it's common, it's not the end of the world. So what else? And then they had like one panel light, which is like, I would say it's like a 1x1. And that's it. And then a couple white cards, obviously. So what I wouldn't do is this crap right here. Now let's say you have because I've done this before, so I'll tell you what I've done. Because here's the window, right? And here's the room. There's the L. And here's your person, right? Okay, so what I would have done is I would have kept that frame, which then poops all over the whole room. You know what? I'm going to change colors. I would have kept the frame, which then poops all over the whole room and gives them that lovely, lovely kiss. If you want a sunlight, I would have placed a sunlight on not this side, because that's where they had the Jolico, which is, I would have placed it on this side and would have shot it in, and it would eventually hit somewhere right around here. They had it hit round here. I would have it hit here, because that's where you get whenever you're on the inside, and it will just create a whole bunch of lines, and I could throw a little Branchosaurus in there, and that'll create interest on the wall, and that's that. If you want to cut it, I would not use a flag to cut it, because it'll cut this light off of your window as well. So instead you lift the light up so that the frame itself naturally cuts like that, and then you'll get this, and then that's how I would get the shape. So there's less artificiality. The more natural, the more you sell the look. And so in this case, I'm using this top edge here to create the natural cut that would normally happen. If you want it to be sharper or blurrier, you back up the light, or you bring it forward more, and that'll give you the soft edge that you're looking for. And so that's what I would have done. Altogether, I would have kept this light, so that was at a 1200, and then this would be, I would say this would be another 1200, and then on the inside, I would do this with a 600 bicolor and a softbox, but I wouldn't use a softbox. I would have it poking into a giant 8x8 frame, a T-boned, so you have a little T-bone right there, and then some fill cards on the fill side over here, and then that's that. I hope that helps you in your journey to lighting more effectively. I hope you got something out of this, and if you'd like to see more of this silliness, if this flicks your light switch, then be sure to subscribe, and you'll get more. Peace.